Yes, you've tuned in to the one and only Stock Car Facts, where we talk stock cars only. No offense to our open wheel friends. That's just our thing. Stock cars. NASCAR, ARCA, USAC, IMCA, ASA, IROC, you name it, we cover it. Speaking of covering it, we're back to part 2 of our series about the legendary James Jim J.D. Stacy. And talking on his behalf is his daughter Velvet, and also Crystal Harrington on behalf of her father, Robert Boobie Harrington. And we must apologize on the last episode that we mislabeled part 1, 2, 48, whatever. This is part 2 of 2, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast. Thanks for listening. Velvet, did your dad follow racing into the 90s? Could he watch it on TV? Was he involved? Was he interested still, or was he kind of like, that's another part of my life, I'm kind of going to leave that back? Or every now and then he'd go, okay, well, he won 7 championships, he won 3. Well, did he know what was going on?
Every single solitary day that there was a race on, he had it on his TV. Until the day he passed away.
Wow.
He watched it every single solitary time there was a race. And he was talking to Mr. Robert literally 2 or 3 times a day, all the way up until he passed away. Mr. Robert, because Mr. Robert passed away almost, a year before my dad did.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around. Oh, wow.
No.
Okay.
My father will be 10 years, April 15th.
April 15th, and mine will be 9 on October 30, I think it's 30th. He loved it. He didn't care that he didn't own anything. He didn't care about anything. He would make all the comments to me. Oh, that guy's like a... And then, he'd say his thing, and you told me not to swear, so I won't do it. Oh, that guy's a this and that. I was like, okay. Till the end. He absolutely loved it. Loved it. And before, he couldn't, when he was already couldn't get up, he would go to all the races that he could go. I think the last race that he went to was in Charlotte, and those are the pictures. I think I posted, you might have them, with June and Bobby.
Yes.
Allison.
Excuse me.
My dad and my brother-in-law brought him there, and he was so excited, he almost fell getting out of the car to get out there and go up there and hang out and watch that race.
One step at a time.
That was the last race that my dad saw in person. But every day on the TV, even after that, for another 5 years.
Didn't you say that your dad? We just started talking about that today, and I did not know this. That he was working very closely with Bruton Smith of Charlotte, Atlanta, Texas, Sonoma on suites.
Correct.
Was your dad involved in that as well?
No.
Okay.
No.
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Because I thought I heard your dad was welding on some of the stands or some. I thought maybe I got that wrong. Well, that's why I got you on the show to, straighten me out.
Not to my knowledge.
Help build stands or something. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, so back...
that you know of.
Yeah, that you know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I can't remember the year, though, when Bruton Smith asked him to do the cannon either. Anyway, so he had given him a call, and Bruton Smith wanted to build these condos, though.
Like in Charlotte.
In the
first term.
Yep. And
that would have probably been in Texas or
no, this is in Las Vegas.
Oh, Vegas. I'm sorry.
Las Vegas at the Speedway.
Late
Las
90s,
Vegas,
early 2000s. Yeah.
It's got to be in 2000. I think it's 2000. So my dad went. My dad, even back in the day, he used to build bridges. He was in construction, doing all of that, so he knows about everything.
Wow.
And so he's
got the longest time on the business card of anybody ever.
I know, right? So he did it, and so and I live in Vegas, so he would pick me up and say, "Hey, come on out." My son, whose name is Track, he would come with me. He was little. I think he was maybe in 2nd or 3rd grade, so that can kind of tell you the time frame. But they were going to go and build all the condos up there. But then they got into some kind of legal thing because up there where the Speedway is, it's by Nellis Air Force Base.
Yeah.
So they
The
were
government,
complaining-
here we go.
Yeah, and they were complaining that you can't have people living in condos, high-rise condos over there. That's where they do all their flybys and do their, Top Gun stuff. Their training. And so they had to go back and forth. And then, it ended, I think after 2 years, it was done because they wouldn't let it, which I find crazy because there's so many apartment buildings over there. But these ones were like kind of high rises. So that was it for that. And it was called, going to be called Trophy Towers.
Wow.
It was what it was going to be called. I think I showed you his card. I don't know where it went.
Yes, you did.
But
I'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah, so he did that, and they were friends for a long time. My dad and Mr. Smith.
Yeah, when he come into town, Bruton would put him in a condo.
Would put him in the condo and
at
everything.
at Charlotte.
Yeah.
So I would like to know, and this is kind of facetiously I'm saying this, why is it that most everybody seems to portray your dad as this outcast when he's, until the last day of his life, he had all these friends in racing still? Did that surprise him too? Did you ever talk about that? Why did it end up like this?
I never talked to him about that. I'm pretty sure my mom and him had talked about stuff when they were still together. But now that I'm older, I kind of now know what it is. I don't think my dad ever is going to sit and complain. I mean, if somebody's trying to sue him or whatever, of course he's going to defend himself and do whatever.
I didn't.
But in any part, I don't want anybody to think that my dad was, because it wasn't. He's not just, I'm just going to keep on him and on him and on him. He's like, okay, well that happened. Now next, then we're going to move forward and do the whole thing. My dad never went back. He always went forward.
Because I know you said as he got older, you and your brother were taking care of him as his health was failing. I didn't know if you guys had any, started having heart-to-hearts. Maybe the subject came up and, so
no,
that's why
he's more of a he did tell me, he's like, Velvet, don't hold a grudge. He goes, don't do it.
Good
it's
advice.
Gonna do that.
I should need that.
And so at the end, I never ever saw him go backward. I never say, wow, 20 years ago I should have done that. He never said those. He never said those kind of words ever. He was like, okay, now I did this. He was always trying to do the next deal, the next whatever. Always
wanted to get back in it.
Always wanted to get back in it, and he would do the thing with my dad.
In a way, he kind of did though with the condo thing, and he kind of did.
Oh yeah, he wanted to get back in it racing.
Like
he never wanted to get back in it, going again.
He never ever wanted to stop. He wanted to try and do that.
When he hit it big, so he'd come back in.
Correct, and he was always even.
But
on
now
the phone,
money
doing deals.
That we're talking next level money. When they were probably, I mean, we're not talking. I mean, let's say he bought, for example, Mr. Crosskoff's team in 1977 for, I don't know, $500,000. You try to do that in 1997 or 07. Yeah. We're talking like probably 8, 9, 10 figures now.
Yeah, I can remember when we were trying to get a sponsorship for the whole year for $500,000.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
That's not even an ARCA team now.
Right, exactly. It's crazy.
Speaking of the number 2 car you guys had that your dad helped out, I finally met Mr. Robinson at the Walk of Fame here last October because they inducted him in. And if I'd have known you, I'd have said, "Come on,"
Oh, you mean Elliot Ford's Robinson?
Yes.
Yeah, he drove our car.
Yeah, they inducted him as a sports car racer.
Oh, okay.
Him and Shirley Muldowney went in. It's early October, and Mooresville has outside of the convention center. They have the Texaco, I think it's Texaco, whatever, Walk of Fame. And they have their little, slabs in the concrete, Richard Petty, Bobby Isaac, Lee Petty, whoever, and Shirley Muldowney and Elliot Forbes Robinson got theirs in that ceremony. So that was kind of neat, and I'm sure he brought your dad up. I'm sorry, I don't remember, but because you know how I'd like to thank this person and that person, and and then you do that rattling on.
Short-lived, so I don't know.
Speaking of friends in racing, your dad worked with Ralph Earnhardt. You said.
Yes. We're from Kannapolis.
And you're like 5 minutes from their house.
Yes.
We're sitting right now.
Yes. And like I said, my dad's history for racing started at the local dirt tracks at Metrolina and specifically at Concord. And Ralph Earnhardt lives in Kannapolis, is from Kannapolis also, and lives like 5 minutes from us. So when the dad got into racing, he was in the rookie division, and Ralph was in the late model sportsman division, and my father would help Ralph with his body work on his cars, and then Ralph would help my father with his engines on his car. So they helped each other out, doing that kind of stuff. So he kind of was over at Ralph's shop a lot, working over there, and so he kind of grew up with Dale, and so he knew the family very well.
So you're going to love this segue. So I'm surprised that Dale Jr. only drove 4 races for your dad. I don't, because of that connection. I mean, Oh, you mean Dale Sr.?
Dale,
right.
Yeah.
Who'd I say? Dale
Jr.?
I'm thinking Ralph. Well, because he is Ralph Earnhardt. Mm-hmm. Dale Earnhardt Sr. is Ralph Dale Earnhardt.
Right.
So I guess that's why I was thinking Jr.
Yeah.
From his dad. But anyway, you're right. Dale Sr., he would have had that connection with your dad, you would think.
I don't know what the answer is for that.
I mean, I know, you heard certain things. Dale was a tough on equipment. Richard Childress admitted the same. He said we had to let Dale go to go somewhere else to be able to get better equipment.
I had heard that maybe Dale wasn't happy with the way the whole deal went down when Stacy bought the team from Rod Osterlund. That he kind of was in the dark, and I had heard that maybe that contributed to it.
Would you also say that would you say Rod Osterlund was a bit older than your dad, or he was probably more of a fatherly figure to Dale than your dad may have been? I'm not saying your dad was mean, but no, I would think that your dad
was mean.
But you know what I'm saying?
I think what Crystal's saying is correct, because I didn't hear anything personally between them, but I heard many, many phone calls from my house. And I think what Crystal's saying is that because Mr. Osterlund didn't
inform the team,
maybe not even the team, or even just him, I think.
I'd heard that many times. I didn't tell anybody.
Him, maybe he was like hurt. And anybody can get hurt. I don't care how old you are. If you feel some way about somebody and they don't come.
Like he was blindsided.
Blindsided,
And it just happened to be your dad. Mm-hmm. And maybe different personalities than Mr. Osterlund, I would assume.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think when he started, from how it comes out, from the conversations that I actually heard, was, well, if he wants to leave, that's fine, but he's not going to wreck another one of my cars. But just like that. I have no idea who he was talking to. Me, he could have been talking to Dad. I don't know. Yeah. But that is what I heard, and
I'm sure even though my father had the relationship he did with the Earnhardt family, if that was the case, being the businessman that my father was and being responsible for the team, being the general manager, he would have felt the same way, and he would have had Jim's back.
Yeah.
Well, and to back what you guys are saying, Dale Earnhardt's first race for Richard Childress was Michigan. And the second race for him, I don't remember what the results were. The second race for him was Bristol. And we've talked about this, but I'll just share with the folks out there. Not to put anybody down. Dale Earnhardt Jr. said this on his podcast. I'm repeating what he said, so don't yell at just me. But anyway, Dale Jr. has said he could be tough on equipment. And Dale Jr. said also, well, he can be unnecessarily rude. So I'm just repeating what he said. But where I'm going with this is the second race out, the old Bristol configuration is not anything like it is today. The old configuration is they used to have the guardrails up like on a freeway. And the metal part stuck out toward the track, but the inside part was those big, huge wooden posts. Now, Dale Earnhardt wiped out a Richard Childress race car. We're talking almost took the whole front end of that car off on pit road. So, okay, if it was tough on it's not just one factor, is what the point being. Right. It's not just, your dad walked in and Dale Earnhardt Sr. took one look at him and said, oh, he's a piece of I'm leaving. That's not it. Right. Again, let's dispel another rumor before fans go and make another stupid article like I read the other day and say that's it. Because I've either personally interviewed Dave Marcus for my show. I've talked to Dale Inman personally. I've had Joe Ruttman on my show. I had Cliff Champion on my show. Every single one of those guys has said, I loved working for Jim, treated me well, doesn't owe me any money, Did everything he said he was going to do. So I don't know who they listened to. Like, there was a certain podcast, extremely popular the other day, and they said, well, you figure Dale Sr. would have listened to Neil Bonnet because Neil Bonnet drove for him and all the problems he had there. Well, here's an article that I'm going to pull out and we'll superimpose it on the screen. Let me find the quote where Neil said, Jim has done a lot for me. He might come up with $1 million tomorrow, and I'll guarantee you $900 will go to the racing team. In spite of everything that's been done, the end result has been turmoil on the racing team. I can't live like this, and all of my financial arrangements have been met to this point. I would have kept driving for Mr. Stacy if it weren't for those legal issues. So that flies in the face of what this famous historian podcaster had to say. And again, which really irritates me, because why don't you get your facts straight before you, well, like my old pappy used to say, run your mouth. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit. And
can I say something?
Absolutely.
I think that
we're going there
the
next.
way it all kind of came, my personal opinion is, Jim came on the scene, he had bought Dale's team, and then he started sponsoring all these cars. He came in like a whirlwind, and he's got all these cars with his name on it and everything. And I think it kind of shocked everybody. I don't think they were really ready for that.
There were no 2-car teams, let alone 5-car teams.
Right,
back then.
exactly. It was kind of unheard of at the time and everything. And then his business took the downturn, and he had to start backing off on those sponsorships and start letting those cars go and everything. And I think that's probably what upset a lot of people, that they thought he was a crook or whatever, because he had these sponsors, and all of a sudden he's not sponsoring these cars anymore. And
well, look what happened to the
really
Petties.
Didn't know the story.
Look what happened to the Petties.
They didn't know
Right.
the story.
The Petties tried to run 2 cars, and look what happened to them financially.
Yeah.
And what did Darrell Walter was on?
And my father seen, what was happening, because, he's on the business side or whatever. And, he wanted Jim to, no, let's don't sponsor these teams. Let's just concentrate on the 2-car teams and make that good.
He's trying to do an intervention.
Yeah, he's trying to bring him back
addicted.
down. But
That's what friends do.
he's trying to talk him back down or whatever.
Yeah.
But Mr. Stacy, Jim loved racing so much. He just thought, I can do it.
Let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
It didn't work out.
Darrell Waltrip said on Dale Jr.'s podcast during his interview a couple years ago, he said at the time, oh no, I don't want another car. 1-car team is fine. And Dale Jr. said, well, why do you think that? Because he said his dad hated it too. Mm-hmm. And he asked Darrell, why do you think that was? And Darrell made a very good point. He said, because you looked at it like this. You're taking meat off my table. Wait a minute, you're going to get the good carburetor? Wait a minute, you're going to get the good engine? You're going to get the good rear end? No, that's mine. He said at the time, they didn't look at it like that, okay, we can have more than 1 carburetor. We can have more than 1 good engine. And it is kind of, ironic that, Neil Bonnet went to Junior Johnson in 1984. Mm-hmm. They started a 2-car team. And then Rick Hendrick come in and kind of did it right and said, no. We've got enough parts for everybody, and you better like it. So your dad and your dad were trendsetters. They were going to,
Absolutely.
Well, we had over at Statesville, at the Statesville shop, we had a major business going on here. We had a parts department. We were selling parts at the racetrack. Yeah. We were leasing out engines. We were doing other things besides just running the team too. So just having that core business there, if he would have just done that instead of, if the money would have held out instead of sponsoring all those teams or whatever, that would have been, thriving probably.
Yeah. I know. I remember the parts business. I was real close to one of the guys that worked in it. He'd always send me stuff, the hero cards and business cards and calendars and hats and patches.
Mm-hmm, right.
I said, oh, thank you, I just slipped a picture over to you of you, and I'll put it up on the screen.
Help me.
You are 10 years old. You're 9 or 10. You're going on 10.
I think I'm 10.
That would be
1977.
So you would have been 10 at the end of the year.
Yes.
So you're 9 there.
Oh, okay.
Because you're born 24th. That's 1977. That's summer of 77.
Oh, summer. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
almost 10.
It looks like somebody else enjoys racing there too.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't have any pictures of Crystal with the race car, but we got pictures of Velvet.
No, but we have pictures of Mr. Robert and Crystal.
That one in Victory Lane. I'm sorry. And you look like you're enjoying yourself. But
Yeah, and there's one of me and him
Yeah.
in Charlotte.
In Charlotte.
Yeah.
With Lakes, when he was with Lake Speed.
and then here's that star. People have seen the 5 racers. If you wouldn't mind holding that up for the camera for folks to see, because I wanted to dispel another myth. The 5 racers, what did that actually mean? People thought it was the 5 teams he sponsored, but what did that actually mean?
Oh, no. Well, this one doesn't have it, but the big
Right.
star that
Yep.
was usually on the side of the car, it was my mom,
Yep.
Sean, my brother, then me, and then Brad, and then Chase. So that's my mom and my brothers.
So the 5 racers was not the teams.
No, it was
So that's
the
what
five
your dad looked at.
It was the 5
the
of us.
family.
Yeah.
And his name wasn't even on the star.
I think his name was on Play.
Well, I was going to joke and say that, but you took my joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the star was, is all our names, yeah.
So I'm going to shift gears again and talk about your mom for a second. Your mom, if people look her up on IMDb, yeah. I sometimes dyslexic, not in mine. I sometimes say IMBD. In the International Movie Database, your mom, Tita Marcel, is a famous actress from the 50s and 60s.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell us some of the programs she starred in.
Okay. So I know she did more before The King and I. She was in the original King and I with Deborah Carr. She was
Not the one with Yul Brynner, or
Yeah.
is that? Oh, that's the one. Sorry,
Yul Brynner
Sorry.
and Deborah Carr.
Sorry.
Oh.
I've seen half of it. Sorry.
Okay.
It's not racing related. What do I
not
care?
She's one of the little kids.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not racing related.
Yeah, she's one of the little kids.
She's one of the little kids. So she was 10 in that, but she did a lot of other parts in different TV shows and
Rin
all
Tin
of
Tin.
that. She was in Rin Tin Tin. And
So, folks, around the Lassie time, there was also Rin Tin Tin.
yeah.
So some of you
She's
may
actually on
remember
the
that.
coloring book, the original coloring book.
Yes, she is.
for Rin Tin
I'll
Tin.
try to put that up here and show you.
And so she starred in the King and I. So if anybody who has watched The King and I, she's the one when he's introducing his children. She's the one who lifts up Deborah Carr's skirt to look underneath it, and then Yul Brynner scolds her, and then she has to go sit down. So the one right before the prince comes out. So that was my mom. She was in Cold Blood with Robert Blake. She was in McHale's Navy.
Thank God it was just a movie.
It's-
Sorry, folks.
She was in McHale's Navy, and
I believe I Spy.
I Spy. Yeah.
Man from Uncle, I believe.
Man from Uncle, yeah. She was in all those. And then she also headlined at the Flamingo. She was the top billed there with my uncle and, my aunts and everything.
So your mom was a working actress. I mean, she was living.
She was making more money than my dad when they met. Let's not pretend. But and she was 18, so she was making a lot of money. A lot of money. Yeah, and she was gorgeous. I mean, she's beautiful.
Oh, I'll put some pictures
She's
up, folks.
So beautiful.
Oh, and
she still looks beautiful, and she just turned 80.
one of our guys that we just had an interview. We'll have an interview with.
Oh, with Mark?
Wright. He is such a huge fan. He sent me. I think he sent me more pictures of your mom than he has your dad, and he sends a lot of your dad. But
I think that's his passion now. Is my mom.
it's funny how there's all these coincidences because my mother was born March 27th, and so was your dad. Your dad passed October 30th? You
Yes.
said. My mom passed November 2nd.
Yes.
And your mother and you and I were born December. We're born on the eve of the holidays. I'm sorry, when did you?
I'm born in March.
March. Well,
March 20th.
20th. There you go.
Yes, so new Jim's
She just had a birthday.
Yeah, new Jim's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I'm December 30th. You're December 24th. Here's your Christmas present, New Year, and birthday present same time. It's like I don't get that anymore, but I used to get it a lot. I'm sure you did too. But
Oh,
anyway.
absolutely.
Oh boy. So you know what? You just do it back to them.
Right.
I'm not bitter, but anyway. I know that's a quirk. I know I should shut up with my quirks. Anyway, I thought it was very sweet of your mother. I mean, they'd been divorced for a long time.
Yes.
She put up on And it really, literally brought a tear to my eye when I saw it.
Yeah.
And I've never met your mom, but we are Facebook friends.
Yes.
And which I thought was really, I didn't realize until later, wow, this is like real life movie star. She put up a happy birthday to your dad. I thought that was extremely sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. My mom and dad, they had a little spot there. 30 years, I think. My mom has never, ever said anything bad about my dad. My dad was a little different. He never said anything bad. It just was something that he just wanted to look out for whatever reason. But in any event, when he was on his last day, maybe a day before he passed away, he had my brother Sean and I. He said, "Please have your mom come," and that's the only person that he wanted to come besides us, the kids. Sure. He said, "Please, can your mom come?" And my mom came right away.
Wow!
And one of the last prayers we had together, all of us together, was Sean, me, my mom, and Dad, and we're all holding hands and praying. Oh. And the first thing he did when she walked in the room, hadn't seen her in probably 30 years. He blew her a kiss, and she went right away and held his hand, and we all prayed, and the next day was gone. Yeah. So you remember at the end, and remember he's the one who said, "Don't hold a grudge."
Yeah.
So, and then I had to do the little side eye. I went, okay. But at the end, he called her, and he's been married a few times before. He only called her.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were a good team. I think they were a really, really good team. So
I would, and there's, you guys are seeing the people watching here, and again, thanks for tuning in, folks, to Stock Car Facts. We're going to wrap it up here, and I know you see these trophies on the side. Our next guests are going to talk about those a little bit. I will tell you, this trophy right here is about 90 pounds. I know I'm exaggerating it, but it is very heavy, and I can't imagine standing in Victory Lane taking pictures of that thing. It's so heavy. That's Tim Richmond won that in 1982. But we will talk about that in part 2. Anyway, I would like to wrap it up by saying it sounds like both of your fathers were men of integrity, and pass that down to both of you, I would say.
Crystal for sure. I'm still on the board. I'm just kidding. I do agree with that. I do agree.
Because you've taken your father's, your parents' legacy and not tarnished it. You may not have, I don't know, you may not feel you've increased on it, but you sure haven't gone backwards. And that's one of the worst things you can do as a child, I think, is to either tarnish your parents' legacy. Your mom is still here, Crystal, lives up the hill, and yours is too.
Yes.
But to say that, this is how I would like to be remembered, or this is the kind of legacy I would like to leave, is, I think, a very important thing. And I think you guys, it sounds like, learned from some of the best.
Yeah. They were the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 I miss them every day. Both of us.
I wish,
of them.
Yes.
I wish I knew them better. I really do. I only talked to them briefly here and there. Your dad more than her dad, believe it or not, because he was gone pretty quick. Yeah. And your dad was always no nonsense. I was almost a little intimidated by your dad. I didn't want to get in the middle of what he was doing, because he was so, you could tell he was so focused,
Right.
Where your dad was just kind of standing to the side and watching, you know.
Yeah.
To wrap things up, do you guys have anything else you'd like to share as we sign off for this episode? And we'll go to part 2 next week.
Well, I just wanted to let everyone know that, Mr. Stacy has never been anything but gracious and giving to my family. As far as, he always thought a lot of my father, and he always took care of us. And I know that as far as people saying they didn't get their money, as long as my father was running Mr. Stacy's business, I know he would never have let that happen, because my dad was very an upright man, and he said, if you don't have your word, you don't have anything. Yeah. So, and I know Mr. Stacy was wonderful to my family, and I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that.
With Crystal, she's been my rock for such a long time, and when my dad passed away, because I'd had a fire in my house, I'd lost my old phone, and I saved every message for my dad the whole time I was taking care of him. And then when I called her, she had saved
Wow.
a message.
That's what friends are for.
A message from my dad, and she sent it to me. And to this day, it could just be on a regular day, I listen to it, and it tells, "Hey, Crystal, how's everything going? I love them boys," and then in his Kentucky accent type thing. And that's the friendship that our dads had, 1,000%. And I know that's the friendship that we have. So
Right.
I just want our father's legacy to not be, grandiose or whatever, but they were good men. They were really, really good men. And they tried to help and do the best for a lot of people. And we just want that.
But they weren't perfect.
Of
No, I'm
course
just-
not. There's
Sorry,
nobody
being
perfect.
facetious.
Nobody's perfect. But
But
that's
the good intentions were there.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. They were.
They tried to take care of people, treat people fairly.
Yes.
Yep.
I agree.
And that's the legacy I want both of our dads to hopefully have when we're gone. Because that's all we really care about is what they did and how they did it. And they were good guys. They were good old boys. Like my dad would say, "That's a good old boy." And that's what they were. And true. And everything was never, I think, even with your dad, was never, okay, I want this written down. It was all on a handshake. It was all on that.
That doesn't happen anymore.
Of course not.
Like I said,
Yeah.
integrity.
True.
So I will end it with this, and I will reiterate what you're saying there, and that just the way they were remembered from day one when I met both men is exactly what I got from them. Even before any rumors started of what this is, this, that, and that, whatever. And people could probably say, "Well, Kevin, you're just being fanboy." Well, fan is short for fanatic, and I'm not being a fanatic. But if you want to say I'm a fanboy, well, there's a reason why I'd be a fan of somebody. We're talking somebody that's, okay, they got mistakes. They get it. They try to correct them. They've done this. They've done that. They've left a legacy. They've left a legacy of integrity. And isn't it funny, by the way? There's nobody coming forward. They don't actually stick a mic in a person's face and go, "Jim Stacy owes me this much money." It's all, this person said he owes me. And that person over there said it. Not one person personally has said it.
Yep.
But anyway, folks, we hope that you can take some of this history and it will show you that don't believe everything you see, don't believe everything you hear. Unfortunately, both those men are gone, and that's why I wanted to have their children on to say, hey, this is what it was. This is our perspective. This is what we saw. This is what we heard, and it's the best we could do, and I wanted to make their voice heard. So, ladies, thank you so much for being on here. Miss Crystal, thank you for allowing me into your house, pulling out these really cool trophies. Yeah. Velvet, thank you for bringing these photos and pictures and some of the hero cards you let me have. Thank you. And by the way, she's named after the movie, not the paintings, okay? So
The paintings.
yeah, didn't you say there was a guy once said, "Oh, it's the painting or the color or whatever."
Oh, the color.
Something
color.
like that or whatever.
Yeah.
Black
National Velvet.
Velvet.
Yeah, velvet is not a color.
So that's why you tuned in to find out how Velvet got her name.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, we've come to the end of our series of interviews with the daughters of James, Jim, J.D. Stacy, and Robert Boobie Harrington. When Velvet suggested that her and Crystal go on camera together, at first I was a little skeptical. But when she explained why, and that was to show the closeness between their fathers, and we did it, I couldn't have agreed more that was the right step to take. We hope that we've answered some questions concerning Mr. Stacy, and that you've gotten to know Mr. Harrington a little better. And you'll see the stories pop up, those new story shorts we've been doing, in the next couple weeks, but we're going to take a week off, and we'll see you right after the Memorial Day holiday. Please have a safe time, and thanks for listening.